Never underestimate what God can do with your weakness. Seriously.
Mhm.
Sometimes the most powerful weapons in God's hands are, well, the ones the world would never pick up or maybe even notice. Welcome, everyone. Today we're jumping into a Bible discussion, really looking closely at the book of Judges. And we're specifically moving past some of the big names, like David or Samson. We're focusing on two figures who barely make the highlight reel, Ehud and Shamgar. Our mission for you listening is to dig into Judges chapter 3. We want to see how God uses the unconventional, the overlooked, the seemingly disadvantaged to bring about huge deliverance.
That's right. It's fascinating because we're looking at two, you could almost call them forgotten heroes. One uses a hidden dagger, the other uses, believe it or not, a cattle stick. It really shows that for God, no person, no tool is too small or too strange.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the time of the judges. And if you know this period, you know the cycle.
Yeah.
It's almost depressingly predictable. Israel sins, they fall into idolatry, disobedience.
Hmm.
Then comes the suffering, often oppression from neighbors, and they cry out to God.
And God sends a deliverer. It's this constant loop.
Exactly. And this time the suffering was intense. 18 long years under Eglon, the king of Moab.
Yeah, 18 years is a long time to be under someone's thumb.
And the text gives us this really specific detail about Eglon. It says he was very fat.
Right. And that's likely more than just a physical description. In that context, it probably signifies the sheer weight and inertia of his oppressive rule. He's this massive, seemingly immovable force crushing Israel. It really paints a picture of how hopeless the situation felt.
It sets you up to expect some kind of massive military response.
Yeah.
A big hero, a powerful army.
Exactly. You're expecting a conventional savior to match this larger than life oppressor, which makes the person God actually chooses so surprising.
Okay, so who steps up? It's Ehud, son of Gera, from the tribe of Benjamin. And the text immediately gives us this detail about him, something that back then was definitely seen as a negative, a
Too
disadvantage.
crucial. He was left handed.
Left-handed. Why was that such a big deal?
Well, in many ancient cultures, and especially in a warrior context, left handedness was seen as awkward, maybe even unlucky or weak. Swords were worn on the left hip for a right hand draw. Everything was geared towards the majority.
So it's a perceived weakness, a defect almost.
But watch how God flips this. This supposed defect becomes the very core of the divine strategy. It's brilliant, really.
So Ehud gets chosen for a specific mission.
Yes, he's the one designated to bring the tribute, basically the taxes, to King Eglon.
Which gives him access, close access to the king himself.
Exactly. Inside the palace, right in front of the oppressor.
And he prepares. He doesn't just go with the tribute money.
No, he forges a weapon, a short, two-edged dagger, about a cubit long, so maybe 18 inches, small enough to hide.
And here's the genius part, tied to his left-handedness. Where does he hide it?
Not on the standard left thigh, where a right-handed person would strap a weapon and where guards would naturally check.
He hides it on his right thigh.
Precisely. Under his clothes. Perfect for a quick, stealthy draw with his left hand.
So the guards, doing their routine check.
They'd pat down the left side, the usual spot. They completely miss the dagger on the right.
Wow. God uses what the world overlooks, what they'd underestimate, as the key.
It's a masterclass in exploiting assumptions and using the unexpected. The guards check for the norm, and Ehud is anything but normal in that context.
Okay, so Ehud gets in, presents the tribute,
Hmm.
but then as he's leaving, he turns back. He says something like, I have a secret message for you, O king.
And Eglon, puffed up with pride and maybe intrigue.
Yeah, he takes the bait. He thinks it's some secret intelligence just for him.
Right. So he dismisses all his attendants, sends everyone out of the room so he can hear this secret alone. Fatal mistake.
Big mistake. The room clears. It's just Ehud and the king.
And Ehud says, I have a message from God for you.
And as Eglon stands up, probably expecting to hear something.
That left hand moves swiftly.
Yeah.
The hidden dagger is drawn from the right thigh.
And he strikes. The text is quite graphic here.
It is. It says the dagger went in so deep, the fat closed over it. Ehud didn't even pull it out. He left it there.
Why? Why leave the weapon?
Well, think about the escape. Leaving the dagger and then locking the doors to the chamber from the outside.
Oh, it buys in time.
Exactly. The attendants come back, find the doors locked. They assume, the text says they thought he was relieving himself in the cool inner chamber.
So they wait. Politely, respectfully, not wanting to disturb the king.
giving Ehud precious time to make his escape. By the time they finally force the doors open and find Eglon dead.
Ehud is long gone. He's already up in the hill country of Ephraim,
And what does he do there? He sounds the shofar, the trumpet.
rallying the Israelites, calling them to rise up now that their oppressor is dead.
And they do. They follow him, seize the fords of the Jordan River to cut off the Moabite escape.
And the text says they defeated about 10,000 Moabites, all their strong, able-bodied men.
A huge victory. And the result?
The land had rest for 80 years. 80 years of peace.
Just think about that. 80 years. That's like 3 generations living in peace.
All sparked by one act of courage from a left-handed man using a hidden dagger. God turning a perceived weakness into the decisive factor.
And it's interesting, Ehud's name might mean something like unity or joining together, which is exactly what he did for Israel after breaking the oppression.
Okay, so that's Ehud. Strategic, cunning, using a specific disadvantage to his advantage. Hold that picture. Because the very next verse in Judges chapter 3 introduces someone completely different. It's almost jarringly brief.
Yeah, it's a total shift in style and, well, everything.
It just says, after him was Shamgar son of Anath, who killed 600 Philistines with an ox goad, and he too saved Israel.
That's it. One verse, no backstory, no strategy detail, just boom.
600 Philistines. These are presumably armed warriors. And Shamgar takes them down with an ox goad. What even is an ox goad?
It's basically a long stick, maybe 8 feet long, sharpened at one end to prod oxen when plowing, and maybe with a slat spade-like piece at the other ends to clear mud off the plowshare.
So a farming tool.
Yeah.
Heavy-duty stick.
Yeah. Not a sword, not a spear, a piece of agricultural equipment. It's almost absurd.
600 soldiers against one guy with a pointy stick.
If Ehud's story is about divine strategy using human uniqueness, Shamgar's feels like it's about raw faith and, frankly, God just empowering someone with whatever is available.
So you have these two side by side. Ehud, the calculated assassin with the custom hidden weapon.
Right.
And Shamgar, the farmer, maybe just picking up the tool in his hand and is facing overwhelming odds.
And both are presented as deliverers. Both saved Israel. It's a powerful comparison.
It really drives home the point that God isn't limited by our expectations, is he? He doesn't need the perfect soldier or the best weapon.
Not at all. He used Ehud's left-handedness, something others might have scorned. He used Shamgar's ox goad, something purely utilitarian, mundane even.
They were both, in their own way, kind of nobodies from the world's perspective.
Yeah.
Overlooked, unconventional.
But they were willing. They participated in what God was doing. Ehud planned and acted. Shamgar, it seems, just acted, maybe spontaneously, with incredible courage and faith.
So bringing this back to you, listening right now, what does this mean for us?
Well, it really makes you think, doesn't it? What's your dagger?
Meaning?
Meaning, what's that unique thing about you? Maybe a skill, a testimony, a personal story, even something you felt is a weakness or makes you different. How might God be wanting to use that specific thing in a strategic way, maybe in a way nobody expects?
Okay, I like that. And what about the ox goad?
That's maybe the flip side. What's the ordinary thing right there in your hand? Your job, your daily routine, your consistency, maybe just simple acts of kindness.
Things that feel small, maybe unimportant.
Exactly. Things that feel like just a plain old stick compared to the swords others seem to have. Shamgar reminds us that God can bring about incredible victory through those mundane things if we're willing to use them in faith.
So don't underestimate what God can do with what's already in your hand, even if it seems small or, different.
Absolutely. And think about the preparation. Like Ehud, maybe God is shaping a skill or courage in you quietly for a specific moment down the road.
Or maybe, like Shamgar seems to suggest, sometimes it's not about long preparation, but just stepping out in faith now with whatever you have.
Right. Is faith enough, even if you don't feel like you have the perfect weapon or the perfect plan? These stories suggest.
Yes, it's a really powerful thought. Are we sometimes waiting around for the ideal circumstances, the perfect resources, when maybe God is just waiting for us to pick up the ox goad we already have and trust him for the result?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Ehud needed planning. Shamgar needed, it seems, immediate action. Both resulted in deliverance.
So remember Ehud and Shamgar next time you feel too small, too different, too unprepared, or maybe just ordinary. God seems to specialize in delivering through the hands of those who dare to believe and act, no matter how unconventional they or their tools might seem.
Yeah, the greatest victories really can begin with what look like the smallest acts of obedience. Using what you have right where you are.
Well, we hope this look into these two often overlooked heroes has maybe sparked something for you, giving you a fresh perspective.
Definitely. And we really encourage you keep reading in Judges. There are more stories like these, more unlikely heroes and surprising ways God works.
Absolutely. If this discussion resonated with you, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Maybe share it with someone who needs that reminder that their uniqueness isn't a liability. It might just be their God given strength. Thanks for joining us to this Bible discussion. We'll catch you next time.